Hey, it's your boy Easy, and on today's episode, we're going to be talking about Mega Construx Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Collector Series Mutagen Canister Baxter Stockman from Mega Bloks. Let's go ahead and get this figure free from its plastic prison, take a look, and see what we think about Mutagen Canister Baxter Stockman. So here is Mutagen Canister Baxter Stockman, almost out of the package. This figure is a part of Mega Bloks' Mega Construx line of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles figures based off of their 1987 animated series. Now, this line is a fantastic line and has been a favorite of mine since it started, and this figure is no exception. One of the coolest things about every individual figure in this line that comes individually packaged is what I mean to say. They come with their own display base, and so that means that there is a little bit of assembly required. So let's go ahead and get that out of the way and get this base set up. Alright, so here is Mutagen Canister Baxter Stockman, now completely out of the package and on his display base. Each of these display stands come with a piece that attaches to either side of the bottom of the display base that allows for other characters' bases to be connected to it and creates a little scene or a stage, if you will. It's a really cool feature, and it makes for an even cooler display. Dr. Baxter Stockman comes with an alternate human head, a green translucent beaker, a set of fly arms that attach to his back, along with a paper version of his wings and a clear or transparent version of his wings as well. I believe they included this paper version because the transparent version would be hard to see through all the plastic in this particular package. So, but either way, you can use both, and I'll get into that in a little bit later. First, let's take a look at his height. Now, this figure stands at about 2 inches tall and just a little over with the sewer stand, which I think is fine. Now, let's move on to the sculpt. Let's start with his human form. The head sculpt is nice with it sculpted on black glasses, blonde hair, and coupled with his disappointed frown, all looks like it's coming right out of the 1987 animated series. The jacket is nicely detailed and is a repaint of the jacket we received with the Mutagen Canister Raphael figure in this line, if I'm not mistaken. His pants have some sculpted details that keep the figure from looking flat, and his shoes have some lines sculpted into them that add a little bit of detail, but the jacket, it does look a little too big in his human form if I got a nitpick. But it's fine when he's fully mutated, however, but I forgot that when he's in his mutated form, he doesn't wear the coat part. So thankfully, you can remove it and get more of a tune-accurate version of Baxter the Fly. Alright, let's move on to his fly form. I think he looks great in his fly form. His facial expression is perfect. The eyes look really good and have a slight metallic look to them, as does his hair, which is slightly more gold than blonde, but I'm okay with that. On the whole, I like his fly head sculpt a lot. I think it's perfect. I also like the way they handled the wings. Basically, it's a thin piece of plastic that has some black outline on it to illustrate the wings, and you take that, you plug it into the peg on the back of the additional arms that plug into his back, and it holds them in place, and there you go. You've got your fly Dr. Baxter Stockman. Now, unfortunately, my right wing has a very noticeable crease on it, but to me, it's not the end of the world. However, you know, it would have been nice if it wouldn't have had that. But you could also use the paper fly wings too, if you would like, that came as part of the in-package display, I guess you'd call it, for the figure, because like I said earlier, that you might not have been able to see the clear plastic, so they included the paper wings, and you could use either one, you know, whichever one you like. But I do have one minor critique in regards to the sculpt. I wish they would have gone all out and given us some swappable mutated fly feet instead of sticking with the shoes from the human form of Baxter. Now, I get why they probably did this, more than likely because there's not that many uses you can get out of the mutated fly feet off the top of my head that I can think of in this line, but It's not a deal breaker. I mean, the shoes look fine with the figure, so it's, like I said, a minor nitpick. And speaking of minor nitpicks and the shoes, let's go ahead and move on to the paint. Overall, I'm quite happy with the paint on my figure. However, his shoes and vest are not exactly tune accurate. His shoes should probably be either a light gray, kind of like beige color maybe, and his vest should be more purple than brown. Also, it would have been cool if they would have included a pair of purple human hands as well, but let's be honest, with as many animation errors the 87 series had, it's not that big of a deal, and who knows, someone could probably still find him with these colors to prove me wrong. So, my last nitpick for this figure is the bow tie. I think it hangs a little too low on his chest. I mean, it's not bad, but it looks a little weird when you start to focus in on it. And other than that, as far as QC goes, mine had some black paint on his left leg, but it was minor and could be chalked up to battle damage if you want, or, just a stain. Who knows? Now again, these figures are very modular in design, meaning that you can swap parts and make different variations of the figures as you please. Dr. Stockman's lab coat has the same slots as the Mutagen Canister Raphael's jacket, so there are holes for the turtle's shells to plug into, and you know what that means? That means that we can have science white lab coat turtles. Now, in hindsight, I probably should have gone with Donnie for this demonstration, but Leo was hanging around, and I figured, you know what, you get the idea. Now, here's what the white lab coat looks like on April O'Neil, but it's not quite the lab assistant April that we kind of want. Some people might be able to make this work. Doesn't really work for me, but nevertheless, you can still pull this off. Let's see how he compares to some other figures from this line. Here he is with the Shredder figure from the classic Party Wagon set and a foot soldier. Here he is with April O'Neil from the classic Party Wagon set and Splinter from the Technodrome set. Here he is with the individually released Leonardo and Michelangelo figures. And here he is with Bebop and Rocksteady from the Foot Soldier 4-packs. And here he is with Mutagen Canister Raphael. Alright, let's check out the articulation on the fly form of Baxter Stockman. His arm goes up about this high and then can go right back down to his side. There is a 360 rotation swivel at the shoulder, but it is impeded by his wings in this fly form, so you're not going to get the full range of motion out of this joint in this form. There is another 360 rotation swivel at the elbow, as well as a ball joint allowing for it to bend at an angle. His wrist also has a 360 rotation swivel. Moving on down to his legs, they will go out forward this far, and then this far backward. He has a single joint at the knee, but unlike other figures in the line, he doesn't have any articulation in his feet. Moving to the back fly arms, they can hang down pretty low, and then they can go up about this far. The actual fly arm, though, does have a 360 rotation swivel. He does have some slight swivel articulation at the waist, but not much. Now his head is on a peg, so it can get some good range of motion, but he can look down this far, up this far, and has a 360 rotation at the neck. I'm not entirely sure when this started, but for as long as I can remember, I've had an affinity for characters with compound eyes, or at least inspired by Compound Eyes in their design, such as Spider-Man and Kamen Rider. I think that's where my fondness of the Fly version of this character stems from. I mean, the original Playmates version was cool in a way, but it was way more grotesque and overdone, and I didn't entirely care for it as much. But this Mega Bloks version of this character is much simpler and much cleaner, which I am much more a fan of. I can't decide, though, if I prefer to keep him with the coat on in mutated fly form or if I should lose it and make it more toon accurate. But that and minor nitpicks aside, I think this is a very fun figure that works great with the rest of the Mega Bloks figures in this line, and I can't recommend it highly enough. If you're a fan of the Turtles, you need to pick this up. If you're a fan of the Mega Bloks figures in general, hey, I think you should pick up a mutated fly figure. I mean, you could use that for anything, really. And again, I think this figure is fantastic and highly recommend it. Well, that's it for today's episode. Thanks for watching, and if you liked what you saw, hit that like button. And if you want to see more from me, go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well. And hey, if for some reason you want to hear more from me, be sure to check out the links to my other podcasts below, and be sure to check back here tomorrow for more opening goodness right here on Easy Opens. Else time.